There comes a moment in a woman's life, often sometime after 40, when she stops, looks around, and quietly wonders, who have I been living for all these years? It's not a dramatic moment. It's not loud or chaotic. It's subtle, a soft ache, a whispered truth, a feeling you can't quite put into words yet. But it's there. Maybe you feel it in the mornings, when you're getting ready and staring at a woman who looks familiar, but also different. A woman who has lived, sacrificed, accomplished, endured, but who hasn't always been allowed to express who she really is. Maybe you feel it when you're surrounded by people you love, yet you notice how often you shrink yourself to keep the peace, how you censor your thoughts, how you soften your needs, how you go along with things not because you want to, but because you always have. Maybe you feel it during the quiet moments, after the kids are grown, after a relationship has changed, after a career has plateaued, after the noise fades just enough for you to finally hear your own inner voice whispering, "There's more to me than this." Women spend so much of their early lives playing roles they never consciously chose. The good daughter, the reliable friend, the accommodating partner, the steady mother, the dependable coworker, the one who doesn't complain, the one who keeps everything together, the one who shows up even when she's exhausted. And somewhere inside all those roles, your true voice, your real you, gets quieter, not gone, just buried beneath years of expectations, responsibilities, and the pressure to be what everyone else needed. But something changes after 40. It isn't rebellion. It isn't impulsive. It isn't dramatic. It's clarity. It's the awareness that life is too short to keep abandoning yourself. It's the gentle but powerful realization that your opinions matter, your desires matter, your boundaries matter, you matter. This chapter of your life is not about reinventing yourself from scratch. It's about finally uncovering the woman who has always been there, waiting for space to breathe. This video, this long, slow conversation, is your permission slip to speak truthfully, to live more freely, to stop apologizing for existing, to take up space, to choose yourself without guilt. Together, we're going to talk about what it really means to find your authentic voice after 40. Not the voice shaped by expectations, but the one shaped by experience, wisdom, and your inner knowing. So take a breath, sit back. Let this feel like a friend holding your hand and saying, "You're not lost. You're finally finding yourself." If your 20s and 30s were about proving yourself, fitting in, building, striving, performing, then your 40s are about finally exhaling, about removing the layers you didn't even realize you were wearing, about unmasking the parts of yourself you hid just to survive. For most women, early adulthood feels like an endless audition. You're figuring out who you're supposed to be, how to be taken seriously, how to be accepted, how to be good, how to avoid disappointing others. You learn to shape yourself around expectations, some spoken, many unspoken. You choose careers that sound impressive. You stay quiet in rooms where you should have spoken up. You go along with decisions you didn't fully agree with. You swallow your emotions to keep the peace. You say yes when every part of you is begging to say no. And slowly, you become a version of yourself that functions, that performs, that gets things done, but doesn't always feel alive. Then 40 arrives, sometimes softly, sometimes like an earthquake, and something shifts. You start to feel a quiet intolerance for anything that feels fake, forced, or misaligned. You begin noticing the masks you've worn without question for decades. The people-pleasing mask, the I can handle everything mask, the agreeable mask, the strong but silent mask. And suddenly they feel heavy. It's not that you want to abandon your responsibilities or relationships. It's that you can no longer ignore the parts of yourself that were muted or overlooked. You begin hearing a subtle internal nudge saying, "This isn't who I am anymore." It shows up in small ways at first. You stop laughing at jokes that aren't funny. You stop pretending you're fine when you're overwhelmed. You stop agreeing just to avoid conflict. You stop minimizing your achievements. You stop apologizing for having needs. And you start craving something deeper, authenticity. You want conversations that matter, friendships that feel nourishing, work that aligns with your values, relationships where your voice is heard, a life that reflects who you truly are. The most beautiful part of this unmasking is that it's not about becoming a new woman. It's about remembering the woman you were before the world told you who you should be. At 40, clarity replaces confusion. Self-awareness replaces fear. Confidence replaces hesitation. You begin to realize that your true voice was never gone. It was simply buried beneath years of being strong, being polite, being predictable, being everything for everyone. And now, piece by piece, you're reintroducing yourself to yourself. This is the beginning of the journey, the beginning of speaking, living, and choosing from the most honest part of who you are. The age of unmasking is not a crisis. It is a homecoming. There comes a moment somewhere after 40 when you start looking back at your life through a different lens. Not with regret, but with clarity. You see the patterns you didn't notice before. You recognize how many decisions you made to keep the peace, to meet expectations, to stay lovable, to avoid conflict. You start to understand the moments when you quieted your voice, not because you didn't have something to say, but because it felt safer to stay silent. And suddenly, you begin to wonder, what would my life look like if I had listened to myself all along? This chapter is about gently turning inward and discovering the compass you've carried for decades, the one you never learned to trust. Because the truth is, most women spend their 20s and 30s building a life based on shoulds. You should choose a stable career. You should be agreeable. You should be grateful. You should make choices that make sense to others. You shouldn't want too much. You shouldn't disrupt anything. You shouldn't take risks. By 40, that internal compass gets tired of being ignored. It starts nudging you, softly at first, then louder. Something feels off when you say yes to things that drain you. Something feels heavy when you shrink your opinions. Something inside you whispers, "This doesn't feel like me anymore." Decoding your inner compass begins with acknowledging those whispers. It's noticing the moments when your body reacts before your mind does. The tightness in your chest when you agree to something you don't want. The exhaustion you feel around certain people. The spark of joy you get from something small but meaningful. And here's the part women rarely talk about. Sometimes your inner compass sounds confusing because you've spent years tuning it out. You're not broken. You're simply reconnecting with a part of yourself that's been quiet for too long. This is where reflection matters. Looking back not with blame, but with understanding. Remembering times when you silenced yourself because approval felt more important than authenticity. Seeing moments when you laughed along even though something inside you was aching to speak up. Recognizing the times when you abandoned your own needs because someone else's needs felt louder. And then, gently, you begin practicing a new question. What do I actually want? Not what your partner wants, not what your parents expect, not what your friends are doing, not what society says is appropriate at your age. You. What do you want? It's astonishing how hard that question can be when you've spent 40 years answering everyone else's. But the beauty of midlife is that your truth becomes harder to ignore. You start noticing what energizes you and what drains you. You begin feeling the difference between obligation and desire. You learn to trust that small inner pull that says, "This matters to me," even if no one else understands. Your inner compass is not loud. It's steady, it's grounded, it's honest. And the more you listen to it, the clearer it becomes. This chapter of your life is about remembering that your inner wisdom has always been there. You just finally have the courage and the permission to follow it. Finding your voice after 40 isn't a sudden, dramatic transformation. It's more like learning to use a muscle you didn't know you had, one that's been quietly waiting for decades for you to strengthen it. And just like any muscle, your authentic voice grows through small, consistent movements. Most women don't suddenly wake up one day speaking their truth boldly and effortlessly. It begins with tiny moments that feel safe enough to try. You offer a real opinion in a conversation instead of nodding along. You say you're tired instead of pretending you're fine. You choose honesty over politeness, not in a harsh way, but in a grounded, gentle way that honors yourself. At first, using your authentic voice feels awkward. You might stumble. You might over-explain. You might apologize even when you shouldn't. That's normal. When you've spent years bending yourself into shapes that made everyone else comfortable, standing tall in your own truth feels unfamiliar. Your voice grows each time you practice speaking up in small ways. Maybe you tell a friend you can't make it to dinner because you genuinely need rest. Maybe you share an opinion at work that you usually would have kept to yourself. Maybe you finally say, "I don't like that," or "That doesn't feel right," or "I need a moment." Authentic communication doesn't demand boldness. It demands honesty. And honesty doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's gentle. Sometimes it's simply a pause where you check in with yourself before responding. One of the most transformative tools women learn at this stage of life is the power of the simple phrase, "I feel," not "I'm sorry," but not "I know it's silly," but not "This probably doesn't matter," but just "I feel overwhelmed. I feel unseen. I feel excited about this. I feel like this isn't working for me." Feelings are not arguments. They aren't up for debate. They don't need justification. They don't need to be softened to make others comfortable. They're truth. And when you communicate from that place, something shifts, not just in conversations with others, but inside yourself. Another aspect of building your authentic voice is boundary setting. Saying no becomes part of your vocabulary, not with defensiveness, but with clarity. You stop overgiving. You stop explaining yourself endlessly. You stop shrinking your needs to fit someone else's expectations. You begin to trust your instincts. You begin to speak from your center. You begin to communicate with a kind of confidence that doesn't roar, it radiates. And here's the beautiful ripple effect. When you start speaking authentically, the people around you adjust. Some step closer, grateful for your honesty. Others step back because they were more invested in your silence than in your truth. And that's okay. Your authentic voice will attract the relationships that are meant for this next chapter of your life. Finding your voice is not about becoming someone new. It's about finally giving yourself permission to be who you've always been. One of the hardest parts about finding your authentic voice after 40 is this. Not everyone will applaud the woman you're becoming. Some will be confused, some will be uncomfortable, some will quietly hope you slide back into the older, easier version of yourself. The one who didn't have boundaries, the one who said yes automatically, the one who accommodated everyone's needs without asking for anything in return. And this isn't because people are malicious. Most of the time, it's simply because your authenticity removes the convenience they once benefited from. You see, when you begin to speak your truth, gently, clearly, unapologetically, you disrupt the roles you played your whole life. The role of the peacekeeper, the reliable one, the emotional manager, the one who always adjusted, softened, adapted, the one who molded herself so that everyone else felt comfortable. When you start choosing yourself, the dynamics shift. And shifts, even healthy ones, make people react. Some might question you. Why are you being like this? Since when do you say no? You never used to mind. And even though those comments sting, they're not really about you. They're about their discomfort with your evolution. The truth is, change has an echo. When you grow, it calls out the parts of others that are staying small. That doesn't mean you should shrink. It means you're doing something right. The women who have walked this path before you will tell you, when you begin living authentically, two things happen at once. First, certain relationships fall away, gently, naturally, inevitably. Not with drama, but with distance. People who only thrived when you were quiet won't know what to do when you rise. People who depended on your silence won't celebrate your voice. People who valued what you did for them more than who you were will fade. And though it hurts, it also frees you. Because the second thing that happens is this. You begin attracting the people who actually match the woman you are becoming. Women who value honesty. Women who respect boundaries. Women who don't expect you to perform. Women who don't feel threatened by your growth. Women who cheer for you, even when your choices don't benefit them. Women who meet you at your truth instead of your convenience. Over time, your circle becomes smaller, but so much more real. And then there's the hardest truth of all. You must release the need to be understood by everyone. Your authenticity isn't a public relations project. It's not meant for universal approval. It's not meant to please every friend, sibling, colleague, partner, or parent. It's meant for you. Your voice is the most sacred part of your identity. Not everyone deserves access to it. Not everyone will understand it. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into your next chapter. And that's okay. When a woman over 40 finds her voice, she stops living for applause and starts living for alignment. She stops performing and starts existing. She stops seeking validation and starts seeking truth. And the people who truly love her, they don't just stay, they grow with her. There is a moment, and you may have already felt hints of it, when all the pieces begin to settle. When all the shedding, the unlearning, the boundary setting, the discomfort of change finally reveals something beautiful underneath. Your real self, not the edited version, not the polite version, not the convenient version, not the good girl you were trained to be, but the woman you were always meant to become. After 40, something shifts inside you. It's quiet, but powerful. It's subtle, but undeniable. It's the inner click of self-acceptance. Not because your life is perfect, not because you feel completely healed, not because you figured everything out, but because you finally understand that your worth does not need to be earned. You start showing up differently. You speak more slowly, but more truthfully. You listen to your intuition, not your insecurity. You say no without writing a 3-paragraph explanation. You let relationships be reciprocal, or you let them go entirely. You stop apologizing for your needs. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop dimming the parts of you that were always meant to shine. Authenticity becomes not just a practice, but a way of breathing. And there is so much freedom in that. For the first time in your life, you are living in alignment with your values, not society's expectations. You're making choices from clarity, not fear. You're expressing emotions without shame. You're pursuing things not because you should, but because they feel true. You become a woman who knows herself, and there is nothing more powerful than a woman who knows herself. But here's the part that often surprises women the most. When you embrace your unapologetic self, you don't just transform your own life, you quietly transform the lives of the women around you. Your daughters see a model of strength that isn't self-sacrifice. Your friends see permission to set their own boundaries. Your sisters see proof that reinvention is possible at any age. Your colleagues see a woman who leads with clarity instead of people-pleasing. Your community sees what authenticity looks like in real time. You become a lighthouse, not because you intended to, but because you simply chose to stand in your truth. And yes, this journey is ongoing. You don't wake up one day perfectly confident or fully aligned. Authenticity is not a destination. It is a lifelong relationship with yourself. Some days you'll feel brave. Some days you'll feel small. Some days you'll speak your truth loudly. Some days you'll whisper it. But the difference now is this. You'll never again betray yourself just to be accepted. Because once a woman over 40 finds her voice, she cannot unfind it. She cannot go back to silence. She cannot return to the version of herself that lived for approval instead of authenticity. You are becoming a woman who stands firmly in her identity, who chooses herself with ease, who honors her heart without apology. This is your liberation era, your self-trust era, your I know who I am era, and it's only just beginning. Before we close this conversation, I want you to take a breath, a slow, deep one. Because what you've just done, simply by listening, reflecting, allowing these words to land, is something most women go their whole lives without giving themselves permission to do. You paused, you checked in with yourself. You allowed your own inner voice to rise to the surface, even if only for a moment. And that is not small. That is not accidental. That is not insignificant. That is the beginning of becoming the woman you were always meant to be. The truth is, most women don't lose their voice in one dramatic moment. They lose it slowly, quietly, over years of being polite, agreeable, accommodating, flexible, self-sacrificing, over years of being told, directly or indirectly, to soften their edges and shrink their truth. Your voice didn't disappear. It was buried under expectations, roles, responsibilities, obligations, and the pressure to be everything for everyone. But something shifts after 40. Something inside you begins to whisper, then insist, then roar, I want more than this. I'm tired of performing. I'm tired of pretending. I'm ready to live as myself. That whisper isn't a midlife crisis, it's a midlife awakening. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. Finding your voice at this age is not about becoming loud or confrontational or dramatic. It's not about reinventing yourself into someone unrecognizable. It's about returning to the woman you have always been, beneath the layers the world placed on top of you. It's about honoring what feels true in your chest. It's about noticing when your body tightens because something is out of alignment. It's about choosing honesty over harmony when harmony costs you your peace. It's about replacing the question, "What will they think?" with "What do I need?" As you move into this next chapter of your life, you will find that your voice becomes clearer the moment you stop asking for permission to use it. Some people will adjust beautifully. They'll cheer for you. They'll say, "I'm proud of you." They'll love the woman you're becoming. Others may struggle. They may wish for the older, quieter version of you, not because she was better, but because she was more convenient. Let them adjust. Let them recalibrate. Let them fall away if they need to. Your authenticity is not a burden. Your truth is not a threat. Your desires are not unreasonable. You are not here to be universally approved. You are here to be deeply yourself. And the more you align with your inner voice, the one you muted for decades, the one that knows what you want, what you need, what feels right, the more your life begins to feel like it actually belongs to you. This journey doesn't end today. Finding your voice is not a single moment. It's a practice, a devotion, a relationship with yourself that deepens over time. Some days you will speak boldly. Some days you will whisper. Some days you will stay silent, not because you're afraid, but because silence is your truth for that moment. But you will not go back to the woman who swallowed her words to stay likable. You will not go back to the woman who abandoned herself to keep the peace. You will not go back to the woman who apologized for existing, not after everything you've lived, not after everything you've survived, not after everything you've now learned about who you really are. Your voice is your compass. Your voice is your freedom. Your voice is your home. And no matter where you go from here, into new relationships, new careers, new dreams, new boundaries, new chapters, you will carry this truth with you. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to speak your truth. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to be fully, unapologetically, beautifully yourself. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing yourself in this moment, in this conversation, in this season of your life. Your voice has been waiting for you. And this is only the beginning. Before you go, I want to invite you to join this community of women rediscovering themselves after 40. If you found comfort, clarity, or even just a moment of peace in this video, please subscribe. It helps this channel grow, and it helps more women find the support they deserve. And if you have a second, leave a like and a comment. I would love to hear what resonated with you the most. Thank you for being here. Truly.